So, welcome back, everybody. My name is Paul, and a lot of the return visitors, some of them know my videos. I've made a lot of videos about a lot of different subjects over the years, and I talk about mystical subjects and earth transformation, consciousness, perception, and so on. And today I thought I'm going to start a little conversation about the most scary question of all. Everybody gets asked this now and then. It says, do you believe in God? Are you a believer? And wow, that's a question that could start a war, or certainly a family feud. But I've been thinking about that over the years because, I was brought up in a Protestant Christian home. My parents were missionaries, so I would get taught all about God. But I was living in India when I was born, and India has a long tradition of worship and so on and beliefs. And if you go to India and say, well, we're going to tell you about God, they're going to say, what? We're going to tell you about God because we know a lot more. And there you go. See, you get into different disputes about what God is. And if you think about it just logically for a minute here, let's say we assume, okay, let's put aside the atheist question for a minute. There's a lot of people who believe in God or they have a faith or something. But there's an old saying, there's two gods, the one that we believe, the one that we make up, and the one that made us. And when someone asks that question, well, do you believe in God? What they're really asking is, do you believe and understand and accept my personal imagination and view and understanding of God? Okay, so that puts you kind of in a trap. Said, oh, I don't even know what you believe. So how can I say I believe it or not if I don't even know? It's just, God is a word. I mean, how can you make one word apply to something that's completely infinite? Think about that for a minute. How can we make one word everything? It's just not possible. So, when people ask me that question, I often think, okay, well, first of all, I don't want to start an argument here, but I don't believe in the concept of the God that another person might have. Okay, let's be logical here. If people of faith, if we understand there's God, it's not something we want to believe in. I mean, you can believe in a lot of stuff, but you don't want to just believe in a God. You want to know God, right? I mean, as people who understand that there may be, something we refer to generally as God, but just sort of a broad term, if we sort of accept that proposition, that's a big thing because, how can you possibly describe it? You certainly can't put it in a book. So, God is something that I want to know for sure. And that comes down to a personal experience. Well, so then again, a lot of people say, well, I've had a personal experience, but there's infinite amount of different experiences. If God is infinite, if we think, okay, God is this vast, completely universe, infinite thing, beingness, then certainly there's just an infinity of different expressions and an infinity of different experiences, and that every single individual has a totally different experience of God, and we can just sum it all up and say, well, when I feel that God, I feel bliss. Okay, the Hindus have a real nice little phrase. They call it the Sat Chit Anand, the truth, consciousness, and bliss. It's truth because it's permanent. Okay, we're talking about experience. When they refer to Sat Chit Anand, they refer to, I'm not just talking about it, I feel bliss. It's an experiential thing. So, among the different religions of the world, some are more geared toward a direct experience, and they teach you from an early age, well, that you can practice certain things, you can have certain experiences, and you can know more and more, you can more subtle things, you can feel more, and then you begin to understand, look, okay, there's an experience of something that causes blissfulness, that is true because it's constant and steady and self-existing, and it's conscious. Conscious bliss that lasts a long time is what the Hindus might refer to as God. And beyond that, what can we really say? Now, there's an interesting story about a guy sends his kids off to a school and to learn about the truths of the experience, and they come back after some time, and he asks the one son, okay, well, what did you learn? And the guy starts talking all these words and quoting scriptures and all that. And then he asked the other son, the guy was just so in bliss, I can't even talk right now, I don't know what to say, but whatever, So, when we, let's say, I personally feel, again, the word God, it's just such a weird word to use. What we have an existence, and if we practice certain things that are taught to us by great sages and so on, we understand that there's more to this existence, there's more to this life than our own personal awareness. You understand? And when people feel, it's kind of like, for example, let's say we have water in our body, we dive into ocean, we feel all that salt water all around us, and there's no end to it, right? But there's salt water in our body, and there's salt water out in the ocean, you see? So there's a life force in our body that keeps us alive, and it's just existence. It's just, what can you say about something? Now, when people feel that they know something infinite, if you have a direct experience, if you start feeling the vastness of awareness, the vastness of being, the joy, the great joy and love comes to us when we realize how expansive our own beingness is, and that we can connect our awareness with the subtle ocean of awareness, you might say. And this is the process of discovery. You cannot say to somebody, oh, there's something out there, or they're in there, you might say, and you can describe all you want. Like one famous poem has said, if all the trees were pens and all the ocean was ink, I would still never be able to describe a fraction of what I understand. So, whatever we want to, when we ask that question, well, do you believe in God? Well, first of all, we don't want to believe in God, We want to know. Something so important, we better know, right? So, how do we know? Just by theory, by reading a book, by someone's opinion? So, there are people, I've met people, that they quote the scriptures and go, wow, see, it says right here, there's such a da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You've heard that. And there's no saying about scriptures. The scriptures are like your shoes. You need them to get to the temple, but when you get to the temple, you take your shoes off, and you put them down, and you go inside and have a nice, beautiful experience. It's the same way that, with books, we learn, we get inspiration, we hear, and then we have to, at one point, we just say, okay, we go inside, and we become aware of what always existing within us. The life force that permeates us, just like water permeates a sponge. The sponge is there, our body is here. Our body is like a sponge in a way. We absorb all this energy, we are immersed in it. And we are aware. So, a lot of sages have come on this planet. For thousands and thousands of years, there's so many beautiful poems and descriptions. Just amazing. There's beggars that have come who wrote beautiful poems, like say Kabir. There's all kinds of examples of human beings expressing a tiny bit of their connection, a feeling of something that they know. They don't just believe, it's a knowledge. Now, in the Christian setup, a lot of people say, okay, well, I pray, I ask, okay, so what do you do? What do people do when they pray? They go inside, they close your eyes, and they're trying to have a conscious connection with something. It isn't up in the sky. It's not on the moon. It's not in the center of the universe, somewhere out there. It's just the inner space within us is vast and unmeasurable and undescribable. So we just need to say, okay, well, in our life you can have a little taste of it. If you focus and you just relax, you can have an experience in your whole life. You just have more and more growth and more awareness of God until the end. And again, the whole question, well, what, do you believe in God? And I want to say a lot of times to answer that question, no, I really don't believe in God at all. I just don't believe. I just know something that has the qualities of what you think of as God, but I don't think it quite fits your concept of God. So I'm not believing in your particular imagination of God. And if you know God in a deep way, then what can you say? You look at another person, you just smile and go, yes, I know this life is incredible because there's something. It's really unfortunate in my view that scriptures and literal interpretations have taken control so much over what's supposed to be a very simple experience in this life. Not with all the concepts and measuring this and arguing about scriptures and it's just, if it's a living experience, if God is a real living experience, what do we need about past scriptures? They're just like little things that say, okay, that's great, but when I'm sitting here enjoying the bliss and everything, I don't think about any scriptures. And even if, we look outside, we see the beauty and the beauty, incredible beauty everywhere. If we have eyes to see, the creation is a book, it's a living book, it's just so filled with beauty and so filled with lessons and so filled with everything. Life happening, so many millions and millions of kinds of species and creatures and beings of all different kinds, and here we are in the midst of all this. You can't help but get humble if you just look at the stars. I had an experience one time when I walked out of a person's home in the middle of the winter in northern Minnesota, and I looked up at the sky and I just almost like fell down because it's just like, we're small. We're very, very small. And a lot of times you see people on TV and their ministers going on and on, pounding the Bible and strutting up and down and da 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 da. Hello, just take a look up at the sky. I mean, you can't help but feel like a piece of dust here. What's with all the strutting around, the fancy costumes, and all that stuff? I mean, sure. Costumes can be used, but I mean, if you don't have anything to say, if you think about, for example, my apologies if anyone's offended, but if you look at the Catholic Church and they have just immense amount of wealth and power and just control, and they just make kings and had inquisitions and tortures and all the stuff for what? Because they believe in a God. That God that they believe in is just whatever. And they sit on a big throne and talk about how we need to give out and be poor, give to the poor and be la da da. But don't take my gold cane right here. I need that, and I need my funny hat. Okay, we don't want to sell that. Can't sell our property. So there's again that question. Do you believe in God? Well, that's a question that can start an argument for sure, and maybe even a war. We're not supposed to just believe in God. We're supposed to know God. Now, I have to give a little bit of compliments to people who are atheists, because there are a lot of people out there, is they take one look at the modern religion, they go, my God, yes, no, I'm not taking that. I don't believe that. I'm not go for that. It's just, no. Because they don't really acting on a real knowledge. They're not acting on a humility. It's just, there's a lot of reasons and good reason to be skeptical about religion. Because religion gets all messed up with politics sometimes. That's the thing about you don't see the Buddhist religion in politics. The Hindus didn't care about political power. They only cared about the spiritual energy and the spiritual realization. In many parts of the world, like for example in India, they could have a king would go consult with a yogi. And like in Thailand, they actually had a monk he was a monk for 27 years, he became the king. It's a totally different concept. It's a concept that people who lead are the people who have the deepest realization and the most humility and the most compassion. So as far as atheism is concerned, I can understand why people get that way, for sure. We don't have to believe in anything if we don't have some kind of experience. Why should I believe it? But on the other hand, if you're an atheist or really adamant about that, have you ever sat and just felt your own being? I suggest if anyone listening to this is an atheist or staunch, like, anti-religion or something, I hate God or whatever, I suggest that just forget about the whole concept of God. Just put that all aside, all religion, just put it all aside for a minute, or more than a minute, and just breathe. Just be. You don't have to have a label. But you can have a profound experience and start realizing, I don't want to, whatever I'm experiencing, I don't want to call it religion, I don't even want to call it God, I don't want to call it anything that fits into some stereotype or concept. Because it's not possible to fit something really that beautiful and that simple and that joyful of the inner awareness into any book. So, I hope I haven't offended anybody by saying, no, I don't believe in your concept of God. No, I don't adopt a particular religion. Because as soon as I start identifying with it, then, you know how religions are. Next thing you know, you got to wear the right costume, and you got to put on, say the right things, and read the right books, and all that stuff. But where a human being, if you just take it by, what does God want? People ask this question, oh, God, He's going to order me to do things. God is going to control my life, whatever. I don't go for that. The part of God, the part of a super awareness that's inside of us is a gift to us. We're supposed to use it. We're supposed to use our brain and ask questions and have intelligent conversation and use our willpower, and we're going to make some mistakes and we're going to do some dumb things in our life. But with the whole thing of sin, the word sin really means in Latin without. So if you're disconnected from your own being, we start doing things that aren't in your best interest. As far as this punishment thing, I really don't get this whole punishment thing. If there's a loving God, it's like, almost like a Catholic, okay? There's a big nun up there with a big ruler doing God's will, like, oh, there's another one, I gotta whack that guy, boy, The concept of sin and religion is just a very unfortunate situation. Because if you ever look at your own child, people always make this comparison, oh, God, my father, God loves me. Well, when your kid falls down, do you just slap them? They're just learning. It's just, it's not like we get like this perfect instruction book when we're born. We don't even know how to use our own body when we're born. We don't even know what it's all about. We don't even know what's best for our own health. So, the advantage of maybe some scriptures might be, so, okay, here's how you prepare your body, and here's some things how to get focused, and here's some whatever, some techniques. But as far as, again, finish off this whole conversation here, in the Hindu culture, the Buddhist culture, and so on, they see ongoing teachings as being promoted by more and more incarnations, or teachers come. Teachers come on, there's music teachers, there's math teachers, there's every kind of teacher out there. There are teachers out there. I have a teacher. I enjoy something he taught me many years ago, but a teacher helps you become independent. Say, okay, I'm going to teach you how to do this, and then you can be complete. You understand? You're already complete. There's something you need to know. So the living teacher, which there are many on this earth right now, many, 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 you find one that suits your personality, but they're all going to teach basically the same thing. Go inside, slow down, put everything aside, let go of your concepts of God, and enjoy resting in your own existence. It's hard for people to understand sometimes that there are pleasures, there's many, many different pleasures in the world, and we can have them. Today you can almost get any kind of pleasure you want, but there's a pleasure inside of doing absolutely nothing. Because that beautiful rest inside, there's no need. There's no struggle. There's a contentment. It's just like when you go to sleep. If you're a restless person, you're going to have a lot of dreams, maybe some bad dreams. But if your life is moving along smoothly, you're going to have good sleep. And you'll look forward to sleep. But meditation is the rest of sleep, but being conscious. And that feels so incredibly good. And honestly, it fits all the qualities and far beyond of anyone's belief in God. It's just the knowing of the presence that's with us at all times, through the simple act of letting go and relaxing and allowing ourselves to be ourselves without all the masks, without all the labels, without all the religions, without all the costumes. So I welcome people to explore a lot of my videos. I have talked about a lot of different subjects. I'm just putting my 2 cents out there. I feel it's a responsibility in my small way. All of us, we need to put our 2 cents out there and communicate with each other about so many subjects. And this particular subject, the subject of God, oh my God, it's just a big one, and it really is a can of worms for a lot of people. So to just kind of summarize, I mean, if we really want to accept, if you're a religious or a spiritual person, you say, I believe in a quote, higher power or whatever, understand the immanence of it and the presence of it at all times, and it's way beyond our concepts. It's way beyond a book. And if people who are an atheist, okay, I understand, but at the same time, have you ever what do you know about your own existence, your own presence? What do you know? Not just believe. What do you know when you go inside, beyond your mind? A lot of atheist people are very intellectual. They have got it all figured out. Okay, well, I got it all figured out, man. I got it. Now I suggest to you that we really have not got it all figured out. Far from it. close our eyelids. There's more right inside than we ever imagined. And that's been true, you know, that's been taught to humanity for a really long time. We're not this body. Our existence, our conscious existence, is part of that Sat Chit Anand. It's existing, it's awareness, and it's blissful. Now, if you want to talk about love and joy and God is love, yeah, well, if you feel bliss, if you really feel joyful in your inside from your own experience, you're going to be loving. I mean, you just can't help it. You're going to feel kindness toward all beings. I mean, Buddha was a very kind person. He just suggested vegetarianism. All the great teachers had practiced kindness. Just logical. That's the beginning part, you know. Anyway, so I appreciate people listening. I hope I haven't stirred up any arguments, but I don't believe in God, but I feel something very nice. And it's something that keeps growing, my experience, and you know, there's really no limit, so I feel like, well, you know, if it doesn't have any limit and it's blissful and joyful, I guess, what is that? So again, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.